Okay, we're back. I have these two world champions of truth on here with me. And we have Harry from Devil's Playground 2, Logan from the Living Library Productions channel. Oh, no, wait, Harry from the Gnostic Artist, formerly Devil's Playground 2. It's got to babysit me.
Good job.
So we'll just start with some funnies like we did last time. This is from Harry. Oops, I got to get this off of here. Reelecting Biden is like the Titanic backing up to the iceberg again. Of course, so you got me started on stupid memes and then I got way too many because that's how I am. This is from Irish Eyes, escaping through the escape button, getting the hell out of the Matrix. This is in honor of my channel, which has been shadow banned. The views dropped by 75% overnight and comments always interfered with. Am I even recording? Did I hit record? See, I'm gonna start driving you crazy.
Yeah, you did.
I don't
It's
mean to
recording.
brag, but my posts are enjoyed by well over 2 people worldwide. So this is my stupid sense of humor. Super excited about a brand new week of hanging on by a thread. This is creepy. I really don't think I've ever seen a neighbor bringing in groceries. I don't know about the two of you, but
Yeah, nobody else is eating, right? No one else is eating food.
this is coming back for a second run because it just deserves it. Who's the badass rebel sheep, black sheep? The family destroying the. Why aren't we all the black sheep? You know, it's like, yeah. Generation X, because I think the three of us are all Generation X. The only generation that became 30 at the age of 10 and still is 30 at 50. Man, I used to get on the bus at like 8 years old, give the driver a little token and go to the mall. My mother didn't even know where I was.
I mean, we were riding our bike. I was riding my bike like 10 miles away at age 10.
Okay, I put these on here, but I don't need them now, right? Because you got your whole dealio.
The uh, the
You sent me
the
those.
picture I used had an error in it. So I don't know
Oh, we
who
could use that.
published it, but
I steal everything. So I stole those memes. I stole those pictures from you.
yeah, yeah.
So, do the two of you want to start with anything, talk about anything, or do we want to go to Harry's presentation?
I mean, I don't have anything other than the presentation to really talk about, but I know that once we get started,
Okay.
we'll probably come up with other topics.
Yeah, I'd say the
Yeah,
same thing.
we were just gonna chat. So, but since you have this nice presentation, we're gonna do that. Oh, wait a minute. I took a peek. I'm sorry. So I'm in the middle of it. Let me get it reset before I pull it up.
It's okay.
I was
It's all
cheating.
it's all going to be exposed. Exposed.
Okay, here we go. I'll put it on slideshow. All right, there we go.
All right, there we go. So, the last few days we've been hearing about this fellow called named Terrence Howard, and he's been talking about how, we're probably, I'm thinking that he's agreeing with what we think, that there's a simulation going on and that we're living in it. And so he's showing the flower of life and how it was always depicted on a wall or like on a sheet of paper. And what we really have to do is we have to kind of look at it in a three-dimensional perspective. And in the last videos that we've done and some of the ones I've done in the past, I've shown you that, we could be living on a soccer ball, for all we know. We could be on one of those flat uh, edges of a ball. And this looks a lot like the flower of life. It looks kind of like a soccer ball. So what he's saying is that the black area in between the flat circular planes has to be expanded in a third dimension so you can see that black area, and that's where all the magic happens. So the flower of life really is got to be depicted in the 3D, because what we're seeing here is this 2 dimension, and we have to look at it from a third dimension. So we're here, we're there, we're everywhere. You can go to the next slide.
So could this also be a Rubik's Cube instead of a soccer ball?
It could be anything. We'll
Sorry,
never know.
I'm clicking. Hang on. There we go.
Yeah. All right. So light versus dark. We always, think in symbolic terms like, oh, black is, bad, white is good. It's neat. Okay. I told you. So after listening to him, it kind of connected some of the dots. I still don't think about 93 million mile away sun being real. I don't think that we're um, able to travel into space. I think all that stuff is still kind of just make believe. Are we 200,000 years old? I don't think, not in this version, this iteration. Maybe in another, 2.0, 3.0, whatever. But the main point that he's trying to hit home with is straight lines don't actually occur in nature. And that's what we kind of have to live with. Nature is the realm that we're in. And if it's not happening in nature, then something else is happening. So I was watching uh, some sprinting, like Olympic trials or whatever. And so I was watching this, and, and it's funny, we're thinking about straight lines. And just a few days prior, I saw this. If you go to the next slide. So we're watching Noah Lyles, and he's running a 150-meter race. Now, typically, races happen on an oval, but they're going to do a different kind of race, not 100-meter, not 200, it's 150, and they're going to run it as a straight line. Now, we just finished saying that there's no such thing as straight lines. And as you can look at the track, at the lanes, those lanes don't really look like straight lines, right? So the point that Terrence Howard is making was already shown to me 2 days prior while watching this race. I watched it and I said immediately, look at those shitty straight lines. So go to the next. This is before the race, and on the next slide is after he's won the race, and he's got this new record, American record at 14.41. You can still look down the track at 150 meters and see that those lines, even though they are parallel, not the perspective part, but each line you can see that they're not straight. They are varying because this is not on the ground. This is on a wooden, like a wooden platform that they're running on. So, however it's built, those lines are not straight. So I'm thinking, there you go. He's right. There is no such thing as a straight line. So if you want, you can go to the next slide. So the basis for all the geometry that we learn about, that we use for construction, for mathematics, all of it is based on these platonic solids that they have different names, but in this case, this this piece of artwork that I picked calls them the platonic solids, where you have the tetrahedron, the octahedron, the hexahedron, the icosahedron, and the dodecahedron. Now, I don't know why they didn't put them in order of sides, but even this one, they've messed it up. They put them in the wrong order, and they even labeled them incorrectly. But what it's showing is the shape of these um, polyhedrons are made up of straight lines, and because of this, the lines are straight. They're going to dictate what the shape looks like. So when you look at the tetrahedron, for example, that would be kind of like how we view. And my dog is jumping on me. You want to see him? He's right here.
Yeah, hang on. I don't have you on the, okay.
Okay. Yeah. So the the pyramids, for
Wait, where's the
example.
dog? I didn't see the
Oh,
dog.
he's down here now.
I don't have your, okay, never mind. I've got you
Yeah,
as a little
I'll
tiny
move.
window up here
I'll move you.
on my screen. Hey,
He's
baby.
a 6-month-old black German Shepherd. So
I love German Shepherds. All right, go ahead.
So let's
Don't
think
talk
of
to me. I can't have one.
let's think of the pyramids, right? The pyramids are the shape that they are because of straight lines. But what Terrence Howard's going to say is that the society that built it, whoever they were, had already lost some of the knowledge of the lack of straight lines, and so they built it with straight line, and that's how you have the pyramid shape. So we have to look at the Vitruvian Man, which is to the right, and you'll see that in that depiction, man also is created through not a two-dimensional version of this flower of life, but on the very far right, the human cells form the same flower, but in a three-dimensional view, you see the cells dividing, and they look like the flower of life to some degree, but at the same time, they have depth to them. So it's not going to look exactly like that flower. So if you want to go to the next slide. So color, sound, and light are all depicted in waves, um, which is kind of pretty much bring down the whole notion of particle theory. Because if you're trying to break something down into like an atomic structure where you have like a nucleus, you have uh, atoms, you have the different components of the atom, you're going to fail to understand the big picture because they're moving in waves and not just like random particles. So on the far left, you see the light wave coming in from the left, entering the prism or prison. Again, cymatically, those two words are the same. So the light goes into the prism and it's going, it looks like finely defined lines of that light. And then finally, after it gets through the prison, it breaks through and has the multiple colors. So that's why I always tell people we are not humans because we don't have we're separated. If we're humans, then we only have a hue of a map, right? But in reality, we're multicolored. So there's more aspects than just one color. And so I think we're man and woman and not humans. So on the middle picture, we see that the way the wave of that color functions is a more accurate depiction, as is the picture on the right. And you can go to the next. So check out, like we talked about earlier, check out the Gnostic Artist 68. We did a video together, which we called the 3 Code and the X Marks the Spot. And then I also have mirror uh, videos called Mirror Podcast 1 and Mirror Podcast Part 2, where we talk about how reflections in the mirror function. And a lot of times reflections are looked at as working through, hold on a second, the dog got a hold of something. The depictions, what was I saying here?
Mirrors.
The
Okay,
mirror of 1 and
mirrors.
2.
Yeah, we think of reflections happening at direct angles, and direct angles are always depicted as straight lines again. So we have to kind of break out of this whole notion that straight line is what light is going to travel in order to get to bounce off the mirror and show us an image. I think we've kind of we can always kind of look at common sense and wonder, how is it that sometimes a mirror image can be seen from behind a surface, whereas how is it reflecting back there? It's obviously it's moving in waves rather than straight line. So you can go to that next slide. So let's examine why we do not live in a straight line world. We've said it many times in this video and in others. It's all because of mirror programming. And with mirror programming, we're trying to be focused on always looking at ourselves. And a lot of people say, "Oh, you're looking at a mirror. You're a narcissist. All you want to do is look at yourself." And in reality, whenever we look in the mirror, we're really seeing ourselves in the way others see us. So we're never going to really see ourselves in in the way we sit, because we would be looking at ourselves in the wrong essence. And I have a whole video on mirrors and how we are depicted when we look at mirrors. So in this particular picture here, it's a picture of a hand that's turned into it's turned into a flower. And this comes from an anime, which I tend to watch with my kids because they're into that right now. But one day we watched one called Hell's Paradise. Now, just those two words alone, hell and paradise, are very, very interesting words, because the word hell is always given a negative connotation. Um, if if you think about the word Hellenite or Hellas, which is how we call ourselves, the Greek people call ourselves, we're Hellites, right? Because that's what the Greek language and country are really called. We don't call ourselves Greeks, we call ourselves Hellenes, right? So I think that the church has been instrumental in causing the word hell to be depicted as a negative word. And then, of course, the word paradise, if you just alter the word paradise just a bit, you get the word paradise or parasite, because D and T can be interchangeable in language. Again, language is one of the things I've kind of focused on, and I have a lot of videos on how language can change in meaning based on the country you're in, or how you alternate letters like D and T, R and L. Those are examples of interchangeable letters in language. So going back to the Hell's Paradise show, it's a clever anime, and it talks about how people in society who are criminals are arrested and imprisoned, and what they're asked to do is take a boat ride to a forbidden island where they will find the elixir of life. Now, to this date in this show, no one has ever gone to the island and come back alive. They all find their doom on this island, and what they're trying to find is this elixir. And wait for it, the elixir is called Tau. Now, in the last video that we did all together, we learned that the Hebrew letter that looks like an X is the letter Tau. And so this is where I'm going to connect the whole idea of a straight line, and what we talked about with the letter X, where we saw the eclipse form the X, where we saw disease X coming, Elon Musk's X projects, all that stuff. So all that has something to do with the letter X, has some significance to it. So they're all looking for this stuff called Tau. And how do you make Tau? Well, it's all controlled by a 7-member team of immortals in this show. And what they do is, once they kill a human who's infiltrating their island, they throw them into this pit where the flowers that are growing in there kind of take over their bodies and become like parasitic, and they eat the person up and turn them into a liquid which these immortals drink from. And if they drink from it, they become, if they are injured, they heal themselves, and if they start to age, they regenerate and become young again. So this is nothing more than, I think, if you really kind of decode it, it's nothing more than the Anunnaki story, because we read it as the gods created man to be, for their ease. That was one of the verses in Genesis that Nigel loved to quote all the time. And so what we see is that the Sumerian text is being kind of, the truth of it is kind of being expelled in this story. So the notion of this unattainable island is kind of like the Garden of Eden. The elites are the fallen ones that are pretending to be God, and the elixir is like the plant life, is like the tree of life from the Genesis story. So, we're not allowed to eat from the tree of life because we ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. But think about it. They wouldn't have died, Adam and Eve, if you believe the story, if they would have just had a chance to eat from the tree of life, right? But they were not allowed to. You can go to the next slide. So why is the X so important to this simulation? The X is, in reality, it's just a cross. And the cross was instituted by a religion to imprison our minds, to create an obedience system where we're just going to sit back and we're going to wait and wait and wait for an external savior that's not coming, rather than empowering ourselves to be self-sufficient, self-empowered. And so since we're fractals of what I think the God is, we're all parts of it. The hierarchy, and I have an acronym for hierarchy, and that is the hierarchy enslaving you. They want you to not collect any of that data. They would rather you just go to their school, which drains you of your loosh, which is school spelled backwards, and you just come out of the other end just a follower and not a leader. And even in the text, it tells you you have to be a follower or a slave of Jesus, because that's what the word that they use in the Greek is doulos, and doulos is not a servant; it means a slave. So, looking at the far left, the right angle is 90 degrees, and that makes up one quadrant of the four, which is the middle. The four quadrants, you see the full cross, the x-axis going horizontally and vertically of the y-axis. And then on the far right, you see the full cross, the nailed on the x and y-axis. And guess what? You're fucked. As you see, his hands are on the x-axis and his feet on the y-axis. And there you got 360 is the 360 degrees from start to finish. And the 90 degrees is instrumental. So there you got the 369 emphasis again. You can go to that.
There's the Rubik's Cube. You got the Rubik's Cube there in the center.
That's true. So why we languish in language. And I mentioned this already, but we focus so much on spelling because spell casting is the most important part of the control mechanism. So what we see is the true meaning of being born in sin. So we always hear, oh, you're born in sin, you can't escape it. Well, which sin is it? Is it the SYN? Well, the sin in that case tells us that the item is not made in nature. Is it made in a lab? Are we made in their lab? Are we synthetic? Is it the sine wave? Sine wave says that we oscillate up and down and backwards and forwards with respect to the axes. And in this case, it's not only up and down, but it also can be a z-axis too, which goes forward and backward. So it's three-dimensional. Let's see. And of course, the zero is God, and that's where we are supposed to be. And then the last one is sin, and sin in Latin means to be without, right? If I want to tell you that this is without sugar, I'm going to say sin azúcar, right? So in Latin, sin is going to say it means what's missing. And so without knowledge, again, they want us to live our lives and be free of knowledge, not having acquired it. So we'll be seeking it in this game that we're stuck in. And the root of the word game comes from the gamete, which is the fertilization process of reproduction. So on the
Hmm.
bottom left, I have synthetic, the sin theta wave, which is learning and memory. And in this picture, we're seeing the first synthetic embryos being created. Again, in the middle picture, we have the sine wave, like we were talking about. And in the far right, we have the sin of moon, which is the name of the moon when it's in the crescent shape. And then we know that the word Nana, or the name Nana, is the full. And this is all from the Mesopotamian language. And so a lot of that wisdom comes from there. And not too many people really understand the nature of those words any longer. I don't know if that's the last slide, is it? No. Again, more on our on my other channel, either Devil's Playground 2, where you can find all the videos, or if you go to my Gnostic Artist 68, you'll find the playlist. And in this instance, I talk a lot about the moon and its functions on number 60, which is called Sim Yol Nation. And I believe that's the last slide. Yes.
Right. Excellent presentation. My gosh. I feel smarter.
The point is, that, a lot of people, we focus so much on, oh, the detail. Well, we're looking at the wrong details. We're looking at what they want us to see. A lot of times we think, oh, I got this great idea. Well, how did you get it? Well, I was watching the basketball game, and then you're bombarded by these commercials, and then this idea is in your head. So a lot of times we think we have these original thoughts, and what's really happening is their ideas are being reflected into our head, whether it's through using the new magic mirror, our TV, our phone, whatever. And we're really just getting a reflection of what they want us to think. And so that's why the more you can separate yourself from that, the more you're going to start seeing things the way you do, Anne Marie, where you kind of can channel it through the different realms. And I'm convinced that you see things in a different light spectrum.
Interesting. Well, I quit watching TV back in the late 80s because I was a conspiracy theorist way back when. But I didn't really look at screens until, unless I was forced to, like at a job or something, like a computer screen, many years later. But so a lot of things come from, because I was just thinking about while you were doing that, I was thinking, God, if he didn't have to work his job, imagine how much he would be able to present or come up with. Um, I don't know. I have a ton of thoughts. So mine mainly comes from soul memory. I think I'm accessing soul memory, and their mirrors are to deflect us from going to the soul memory. Oh, look over here, this mirror. And so it's interesting with Logan and you both, it's like we come up with the same things. And I think Logan's coming up with it from soul memory too, and or whatever experiences he and I have been put through. But Harry, you're the same thing. I know you're getting this from soul, but you're also getting it from looking at words and knowing all these things that you know and the math and everything. But it's just so wild that we've said this before, that we come up with the same things. So I did that presentation on, no straight lines. And in fact, I think a line is probably dots. Everything's just a dot. This whole world is a dot. So they just put a bunch of dots together and you got a line, because you have to have an AI program, something create a line. You're not just gonna find it here. So it has to be on a screen, a straight line. But there's no circles and all that stuff. Everything's optical illusions. You can look at that optical illusion where it's like these, it looks like paneling, like these square paneling. But if you look at it, you start to see circles in there. It's like, it's not really a circle, but it's kind of like a series of little lines. But yeah, it was just wild, because the whole time you're talking, like I'm seeing paradise and I'm seeing the word parasite before you even said it, and nectar of the gods, us, and the A word. But the tree of life, the Adam and Eve thing, I don't know if you saw the video I just put up. David Schmidt, the LifeWave guy, he decoded the Bible with numerology, and the tree of life equaled, was it 152? I don't remember. But anyway, that number is a light wave frequency. It's the nanometers of light. And it had to do with eternal life, that we were supposed to be immortal. And then when it's our time to leave, we just wither and we go. And instead, he was talking about Adam and Eve's lives getting shortened, and then shortened again later. So you'd said that very thing. So just
Yeah,
wild.
and I
But
think,
anyway,
and like I said, I think when you can see what you see, it's because we are in an environment, and the way our eyes work, we only see less than 1%, half of 1% of the visible spectrum, right? So we're in essence, we're blind bats that can see 0.5%. So when you can channel into that other, uh, I don't know, a couple more percent, you're going to see a wider version of what reality is. And remember that one guy that we talked about, the author, I can't remember his name, but he invented these goggles that if you put them on, you can actually see other entities. And he freaked out this one pilot that's, flying in a fighter jet, and he's seeing these other creatures, just not paying any attention to him because he's insignificant. And so I think you're able to see that. Um, and then when you look at the technology that you're talking about, the X-39, you know, that that light is escaping from us, and if we can keep it from leaving, we help our bodies heal. So there's a lot happening with light that we have no understanding because we don't see it. Well, unless we put some night vision goggles on, you can then see someone at night because you can see the heat coming off of them. But otherwise, we're pretty blind.
yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead,
No, I
Logan,
was
you
going
haven't
to
had a
say
chance
that
to say anything.
that one of the things I was thinking of today, as a matter of fact, it goes along with the X-39, but just in general, is that it's amazing how once we tap into our senses, how profound and peripheral everything actually is. Like Carrie was saying, like we're so trapped into the material that we begin to believe that that's what everything is. And so we get compounded by it. So the more we participate with the TV shows, we participate with society in the way that it's designed and set up, we become convinced that that's what it is. And it's very real. I mean, it's very convincing that there's a point A to point B, and that's the way it looks, because it's hard to argue against that. But when you start opening yourself up peripherally, your sense of smell becomes more, your sense of sensitivity becomes more, just your general sense, that gut sense that you have. Life becomes much more peripheral. So, and it becomes less mundane. See, the material world is a mundane world because it's very hard, it's very solid, it's very point A to point B, it's very matter of fact. And that's boring. I mean, let's face it, that's boring. If you ask me, the people that are, or whatever they are, that are involved with this containment that's been happening for thousands of years, they can't get out of the material. I feel like they're so trapped in it that they want all of us trapped and convinced that that's all it is. But really what we are is light years more than that, because I know all of you guys have experienced it before. It's like, you're thinking of somebody and all of a sudden you're kind of going into these thoughts, and next, they call you on the phone, or, somebody comes, stands next behind you. You don't think there's anybody there, but you can really get a sense that there's somebody there, even know who that person is. I've had this happen to me before, a lot actually. So I think as we get older and the more we participate in society, we begin to become more material. It can happen that way because we have to have security. We have to participate with everything. We have to have the money there. So it's easy to get lost into that. And I think it's vastly important for people as we're going through this awakening process, which is really what's happening right now. We're being given an opportunity to wake up here, to set aside, the addiction, set aside the material world, set aside all these things, step inside of ourself and understand that it's not a mundane world, because really the real world is the esoteric one. It's the one that's inside. And when you begin to open that and crack that shell, what you begin to see is there's nothing mundane about it. As a matter of fact, reality to me reminds me like a Salvador Dali painting. It reminds me of like, you can do anything you want with it. There is no straight line. It's all curving and moving and flowing like this, where if you want to puzzle it together and you want to try to, you can. You can fit anything you want in the material plane and make sense of it. But when you get outside of it, you'll begin to see it's more like it is in the astral type, the astral plane or dream world, where it's like you can create anything you want. To me, that's the real reality. Like if I wake up from a dream where I've, been in some other dimension or realm and I'm shooting from one place to the other, I'm flying in the air, all these crazy things are happening. When I wake up, I go, that was the real world. That to me was more akin to what's actual reality is. If we can take that and bring it into the material, we'll begin to see an actual shift and change into the actual physical body. Again, this does break into the X39 because I've been beginning to see this more in myself, because I've pulled myself away from some addictions here recently. I'm like looking on the outside going, whoa, man, I didn't realize coffee was really making me like being sucked into the mind control and being sucked into, like having to have it in the routine and the material. Oh, I got to do this. If I don't have this, I'm not going to be able to do that, blah, 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 blah. But really, I'm beginning to have more sensory perception. My smell is beginning to smell better. My sensitivity is becoming more. I feel more peripheral now, and things are definitely less mundane. I can tell you that. That's for sure.
Interesting.
Well, like what you said, I like what you said when you said that when we watch TV and we interact with it. You remember when those talent shows started to say, "Okay, vote for who you want," and you have to text
Mhm.
and vote for the
Oh,
person
yeah.
you
Yep.
want to win.
Well, they still
And
do
I'm
that
thinking,
now. American Idol.
yeah, right. So I guess I haven't watched that in years. So, but the thing is, they made you be so interactive with it that they made you pick up your device and call and vote for who you wanted. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, 50 years ago, we didn't all watch the same program. Some of us were playing cards with our friends, others were playing baseball with our kids. And then the next day we get to work, no one could just say, "Hey, did you watch Super Bowl 99?" And everyone says, "Yeah, that was a bad call." Everyone saw it because everyone was watching it. Or who did you vote for? Oh, I picked the kid that could sing a cappella or whatever. We didn't have that back then.
No.
Now they did that. They are able to control what you see because they create this want that you, like you said, the addiction. Oh, I gotta watch that because what am I gonna tell Joe at the office tomorrow that I didn't watch it? And in the background, the commercials and everything that they're chattering about, it's going in your head. And well, why is it that we walk in and we're all wearing the same watch and we're all wearing the same shoes and we're all having the same hairstyle and we're all drive the same car? It's because we thought it was a unique idea and it wasn't.
No. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's well, it really ramped up with these things right here. These that's when it really became really bad. And
The tracking device.
Yeah, exactly. The whatever, man, this thing is definitely a lot more than that, but that's definitely
Remember,
another reason.
remember when you used to leave the house and you forgot something important and you had to go back for it?
Yeah.
Well, you feel like you're naked without the phone.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. Oh my God, I
That's
forgot the
crazy.
phone. I gotta,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna be late for work. Sorry, everybody. I'm gonna be an hour late. I forgot my phone.
Forgot my phone.
I'm gonna step out here 1 second. I'll be
Yeah.
right back.
Okay, I can pause it. Harry, did you pay the drug dealers? We had to pause for a minute. So,
Yeah, all the stuff is on its way. Yes.
the Lifeway patch drug deal. So we're all on that. I was gonna read, I already read it to you, but I was gonna read Michael Jaco's title of his video, thousands of testimonials for results that would normally stun the entire world. So the fact that we even have these is just insane. And then he talks about the sci-fi technology, that it is beyond the med bed technology. It's the latest. I know that David Schmidt, he had to get 80 patents on stem cells in order just to get this patch produced. And it took him 10 years to figure it out and 4.5 million. So it's not some fly by night. And it's using light, like you're talking about. Light and sound is what we need to be focusing on in the future. The human is like, it's like a title for the people that are in that hue, that range. They're the hue man. They can only see that. So we have to identify them because then you can do other stuff around them. They won't know. But what I was going to ask you was when they put on the glasses to see the other stuff, was it a magenta color that they used? Why do I keep thinking it was magenta? Because
I think
that
it was a purple, it was a purplish hue, which this chemical was
okay,
readily available back in the 20s and 30s. And so what this guy did is he hermetically sealed this chemical. He knew how to create it like a liquid, and he put it inside this glass. And then he realized he could see auras in people. Whereas, some people can naturally see auras, but he could see an aura just, you know, very easily. And then of course he created some glasses, like goggles, and then he tried to, make a patent for it. And then, of course, this chemical then became illegal to have. And then that's the way that the man who wrote the movie, what was it? What's the name of that movie? Where people wear the glasses and they can see reality.
will they live?
They live, yeah.
I just
That's
watched
where
that
that
the other night. I just watched that the other night. I was like, oh God, this is freaking creepy.
talk about a
No,
B
it's just
movie, right? Talk
Yeah,
about a
but it
B
was good
movie.
though. It was good. Obey,
yeah.
obey.
I don't know why I can't ever remember the glasses thing, the story. But for some reason, I was thinking it was a magenta color, which would be interesting because that's not a color we see. It's
Right.
actually a combination of two colors. So magenta doesn't really even exist in our spectrum. So I don't know. I don't know why I have that in my head that it was magenta color, which would be a purple, red, or something.
Yeah, it could be.
But
Maybe
I
it
don't really
was.
know. I'm just making that up. It sounds good. Yeah, it was magenta. They
I won't fight it. I'm gonna accept it. Yes.
but yeah, we're into the weird stuff because life really is boring in just that spectrum and what they present us with. It's like I go to the grocery store and I have to really hunt for like, okay, laundry detergent is way up here on the top shelf because it's all the brand names that you see on TV and that's all anybody buys. They don't even look at anything outside of what they were programmed by the television to buy. So everybody's a product of commercials, TV, sayings.
Well,
Everybody has sayings that you can say it and everybody recognizes it. It's from some movie or
yeah.
remember the whole Valley Girl. I don't even know why that came in my head, but that whole Valley Girl thing where we were all saying stuff like we were a Valley Girl. It's just all from TVs.
Everything.
Yeah, and
Absolutely
that
everything.
those products that you're talking about, they're all bought by the manufacturer at the stores, right? The space is bought by them. So they have to buy the shelf space and they put it right at your eye level so that you don't have to look too far up and too far down. And that's what you're gonna buy. And that's the prime location for the shelf space, and it's most expensive.
Yeah. It's like the prime real estate in the store. So, yeah, so I buy everything off brand. I don't buy anything that's big corporation unless I can help it. But then they started buying out all the little brands or the health food brands. And, so you don't even know, you just do your best anymore, but
You don't even
Well,
know.
I don't know.
It used to be that like Tom's toothpaste was the one of the first ones that didn't have anything bad in it, but then they got bought, and who knows what happened after that. Same with uh, the apple cider vinegar. You used to be able to buy, I think it was Bragg's,
Hmm.
but
Yeah,
now you can't buy that anymore
no, because
because
yeah,
they make it wrong. And so you have to look for, like, there's a guy named Eric Berg on YouTube, and he tells you which one to buy, which one's still good. But, even basic things like vinegar, apple cider, a white vinegar, uh, used to be $2 for a gallon or less than that. Now it's like $4 because if you boil, this is not new, but if you boil vinegar and put it outside, if you got chemtrails over your house, they'll disappear.
That's what I heard.
really,
You know
that's
what?
Yeah,
crazy.
I don't know if you've noticed this, but the last 2 weeks here, there's been no chemtrails, which is very odd. We always have them. I don't know
maybe
if
they
that's
ran
going
out
on
of.
anywhere else. Like there's none right now. It's just blue sky and some fluffy clouds.
We were just
They haven't.
outside the other day. My dad said the same thing. He's like, Logan, he's always looking up. He's like, I haven't seen any chemtrails in a while. And I was like, I think you're right. I haven't. That's weird
Hmm.
because they're always out
They
there.
What are-
the U.S. ran out of coal dust that gets shipped in here. Coal ash, excuse me, coal ash that gets shipped here from China because that's
Just
what's in it.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. Definitely
something
interesting
happened.
observation. That's for
Yeah. So
sure.
so if anyone wants to try this, if you have like a barbecue or something outside where you can cook a gallon in a pot of uh, of regular white vinegar, boil it down to nothing. After a while, any chemtrails above disappear.
That is
Uh,
weird.
that is very
I
weird.
mean,
As
I've
soon as
heard
you go
that, but
by,
that's weird that it works.
Yeah, well, think about it. You use vinegar to descale your, you know, faucets and your you use it to clean your dishwasher and washing machines. That gets the scale off. So maybe that has something to do with it. It's got to be a chemical reaction.
yeah, that it carries so far up too, which is wild.
Yeah,
'Cause
you
that's
can
high.
clear a couple of miles of sky with 1 gallon.
Crazy.
That is
Can you
wild.
imagine? Can you imagine if all your neighbors did it at the same time? You clear the whole 50-mile radius of your county.
Well, I wonder if there's just nothing going on up there right now, so they don't have anything to hide at the moment. We don't need the chemtrails, or they ran out of something. Who
Or
knows?
they're saving it for a bigger event to cover.
Oh
Yeah, or that.
God.
Well, you know what's
So
happening
what do you think?
tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, the
No,
big
what's
day,
happening?
the big pandemic treaty signing. Tomorrow is the day,
No, I did
May
not know
29th.
that. Oh, lovely.
Yeah, so tomorrow is the day and I think it's going on in Geneva, is where they created the pandemic treaty. You heard about all this, right? But basically all unelected people, they're coming all together so that they can basically um do what they did 4 years ago, but basically on steroids, where you cannot question anything, period. So all these laws, statutes, and bylaws, all these things are written down into this treaty. So now what they're trying to do is get all the different nations to sign on to it. So if, say, the United States signs on to it, then that would mean that if they want to do a climate crisis, anything to do with a health emergency, they basically can literally lock you down to the point where even if you want to go into a store without a mask on, they probably could, throw you in the back of a squad car or something like that. And that's basically what they're trying to do tomorrow. So
Yeah, I did
Logan,
hear
if
about
if
that, but
if,
I didn't know
if
it was
that happens,
tomorrow.
Logan, I have you as my partner. We have to revolt.
Well, there is going to be a massive revolt. I can tell you about that. That's just it's unbelievable what they're going to be trying to do. So we'll see. We'll see if the United States agrees to it. I know that United States is a hot target, has been for a long time. In my opinion, they've been using it, for this agenda for a very long time. I think there was some good intentions going back to the old times with the Constitution and stuff. I think there was some good in there that, trying to create freedoms and stuff. But I think it's been hijacked pretty hard since then, as we can all see. If you really tear into the history books, it's mostly a lot of deceit, hidden secrets, and keeping the public pretty doped up and dumbed down for the most part, at a very large effort to do so. So anyways, all that being said, I have faith in humanity. I think that people will be able to rise up. That's my feeling anyways.
I
Yeah,
hope so.
I don't think this pandemic's gonna fly like they think it will. Um, but, or if they're even able to unroll it. But yeah, signing over laws that give them rights based on health scares and stuff is that's really evil.
Well, think about it. Maybe what we went through with the face diapers already, that was just a test run.
It was
They
big time
they
test
got a
run.
lot of
Yeah,
they got a lot of
yeah.
complicity, in my opinion. My stepdaughter broke her arm about a year and a half ago up in the mountains while skiing. So I had to drive down up there and so I could get her car back because she couldn't drive. Her arm was broken. So I walked into the emergency room and luckily I had other family members with me. And they said, "You want to see her? You have to put a mask on." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? This thing has been gone now for years. What are you talking about?" And they said, "If you're not going to comply, we have to ask you to leave." I'm like, "Well, you wrap her up, bandage her up, and I'm getting her out of here." So I waited outside in like 20-degree weather
We just
while
feed
they
your
took
grand,
care of.
huh?
Yeah, stupid.
I
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
love
not
that
going to put
wording.
a
If you
mask
don't
on.
comply.
Yeah. I
yeah.
said, "You guys
Yeah,
are,
I think people
you
are
think you're in
over
the,
it.
yeah, I
But
can't
I
see,
was, go ahead.
what people have gone through. If they're not awake by now, I mean, look, I'm convinced that there's a big number of NPCs that just go with the flow. I mean, you look at the blue hairs. One thing I forgot to tell you during my presentation, that remember I told you about that anime where the seven people controlled everything? Well, get this. One other characteristic about these seven people, they can morph between man and woman if they want to. They can choose to be whatever they want. I mean, this is pretty telling of who these people are and what they do. And so I think there's a lot of NPCs out there that are just walking around with either they've been drugged as kids, with all the vaccinations. Luckily, when we were growing up, we didn't get the majority of it. But when my kids were younger, when we're talking about the 27 and 25-year-old, I made sure that I slowed them down big time. They wanted to give 6 and 7 at a time. I said, "They're getting one today. That's it." And because I knew, but yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, interrupted you.
You didn't interrupt. I don't even know what the heck I was saying anyway.
We were
I
talking
lost
about
the,
the chemtrails and no, we're talking about how
well, the pandemic.
they're going to try to lock us down again, and how people are just so gullible and willing to
Oh,
just go
yeah.
with the flow.
Well, you kind of said what I was thinking, because this post went through my feed today and it was Tom Hanks and there's like 3 pictures of him. He's like, and he's holding like his grandbaby and I'm like, good God. So I thought I'm just gonna go on here and see what the comments are because it was some kind of celebrity crush or celebrity. I don't know what the thing was,
He's
but
supposedly
people,
America's grandpa now.
yeah.
The fuck?
God,
I never.
of course he is. So, and he's like one of the main spokespersons. But anyway, I just wanted to see like, because these were like celebrity, fans of celebrities. I want to see what the comments were. And there was a shit ton of comments. And I thought, are these people like robotoids or just, bots, or what is this? And they're all like, oh, he's so wonderful. He's such a good man. And I'm thinking, how the hell you don't even know him. Oh, I loved him in this movie, and he's just so good. He's a good person. That was a character he played. So, but there was a ton of comments also of like Epstein Island, all this stuff. Oh, he likes that substance, and somebody get that kid away from him. So there was a ton of those, but there was way more of it. Almost was like this. It was just one big solid block of all these things of how wonderful he is. And I thought, okay, either we still have a ton of stupid people out there, or this was just a big block of bot comments or something. I
bot.
don't know.
Probably bot
Well,
comments.
You,
They're
you,
doing,
yeah, go ahead.
they're working really hard on the social media end of it, whether it's the Twitter or X or whatever, Facebook, all these things, YouTube especially, they will bot the hell out of it to really boost the algorithm for it. Number one, because they want to get every single person really convinced of certain things that they want. I mean, it's a mastered thing they have. So it's like venturing into social media. I don't care what it is, YouTube or whatever. It's highly manipulated in that direction. And I've seen it, heard it from other people, that I've seen it, people outlining it, showing how it actually works, people working inside the system that say that that's what they're doing, so it's like Harry was saying earlier. I mean, it's like anything that you see, doesn't matter where it's coming from, it is highly thought over, highly engineered to get your mind thinking into any certain direction that they want it to go. And even if it's something that, like, they're trying to reach every single person, because remember, Anne Marie, I was telling you that one time, my brother-in-law, he works as a psychologist in the Air Force. He's like high level rank guy. He does interrogations. He told me, he's like,
Yeah.
Logan, he goes, every single human being on this planet, doesn't matter who you think you are, fit into 5 personality types. That's it. And he goes, my job is to figure out which one you are. And he goes, as soon as I figure out which one you are, and it's easy for me to do, by the way, I can make an innocent person confess to guilt. I mean, he's like, he told me, like, that's how easy it is once you know what that is. And so my whole thing with the psyop that's going on right now, has been for forever, noticeably to me in the past 4 years is really when I started seeing it, like a lot of people, but they are digging into those 5 personality types, and they're going, where can we get these people? Because whether you believe in aliens or you don't, whether you believe in politics, war is fake, war is real, what does it matter where you fit? They're going to find a category to nail you into. Again, why it's really important to, number one, realize that you are being put into a category and you're being mentally manipulated. The other thing is coming in, like we talked about before, coming into your authority as a person, really getting into the inner person who you are, ditching a lot of this stuff or putting it aside most of the time, the phones, the devices, all this stuff, and really ground and get into nature. Do all these things. Get off the addictions, man. Get off the coffee, get off the nightly wine habit, get off the whatever it is. Start to come into your power, because that is when you're going to see it's like you're taking the glasses off. All of a sudden you're like, holy God, I can see everything in a way I've never seen it before. It's very liberating. That's all I can say,
I did a whole
Yeah,
video
so-
on the last one that Nigel and I did together was called Harry's Detox.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that.
And
I remember that. Yeah.
and I went through like 7 different regimens that I did for detoxing. And I swear to you, when you get to a point where you're not watching TV, you're not on your device too much, you're not drinking the coffee, you're sleeping, you're not doing all this stupid stuff, you start to see patterns, you start to be able to decode stuff. You can, like you said, smell better, see better, everything starts firing way better.
Yeah.
But Emery, you nailed something, and you talked about how everyone's like botting and saying how Tom Hanks is the greatest ever because we saw him in the movie Big. I loved that movie when I was a kid, but he is not the characters that he plays. He is the persona. He takes on the persona, which in Latin means mask. That's what persona means. It's a mask. Because when you were an ancient actor, there was only one guy playing all the roles. One guy, he played the men, he played the women. That's where you get this hermaphroditic concept that these controllers love so much. I'm going to wear the dress and I'm going to wear the pants and I'm going to be the one guy. And these fools that are going on social media and saying Tom Hanks is the greatest because I saw him in Angels and Demons or
Mr.
something Express.
Rogers. You mean
Mr.
he's not
Rogers.
like Mr. Rogers?
No,
Oh,
he is-
God.
He is the exact opposite. He is probably a handler. He's
Didn't he
probably
play Mr.
into-
Rogers?
Yes, he did.
Oh, God. So pathetic.
So well, the bottom line, the thing I want to make the point is that people are so attached to things that are fake, the synthetic, right? We don't know him yet. We want to apply the characteristics that this character played, and then like my mother-in-law, she was a stewardess, and so she went on flights where she saw a lot of famous people, and she says to me, "Oh, I met Danny Thomas, Marlo Thomas's dad. Remember him?" And he was the guy who started the whole cancer research, City of Hope, and he was such a good man. And I said to her, anyone else you meet that was famous? She goes, oh, Johnny Carson. He was such an asshole. and I'm like, there you go. These people, they put on a persona. In front of the camera, there's someone else. Behind the camera, there's somebody else. And I told her, Danny Thomas, he set up that whole City of Hope thing. They haven't cured anyone. Those kids, they just go through, get their hair fall out, and they're dead in 2 years. He is not there to raise money to find a cure. He is there to suck the money out of people and keep this charade going. That's all it is.
Yeah. Well, Satanism teaches that one of the ways you operate in the world is to pretend to be a Christian or do good works and give to charity, because that's how you can keep operating. If they see other aspects of you that look suspicious, oh yeah, but they gave to this charity. But going back to Logan, you were saying, you were talking about the 5 hypes and stuff, and it makes sense why they're watching us so closely, so they can keep steering the narrative. They can stay up to date and steer it. But I was watching the And We Know channel, and they were collecting bot comments. And so if there was some popular topic out there, it was the exact same comment. And it was like a paragraph, and it was worded exactly the same with a different profile picture, different name. And they would put like tons of these up on a screen, all these comments that are identical, but they all have different profile names on them. So they're just, sending those out en masse to comment on however they want to steer it. But I'm noticing this with like even my channel. I'll say, well, what do you all think about this? And I want to know what you think from an intuitive perspective or an inner, what do you think? I don't want any response about what you saw somewhere, what you saw in a video, what this person told you and you took, because every time they present you those things, you got to choose one. Okay, well, I believe this then. And so then if I say something, you're like, no, it's this, but they just saw it on somebody's video somewhere. And even when I say it that way, I still get responses that are from videos they watched. It's like, you didn't even look into yourself to answer. I'm like sincerely interested in what you think. Is it the same as what I'm getting? Is it, what is in you, your inner self? And I'll still get well, it's blah, 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 blah. And it's like, and I know that's somewhere being said on a channel. It's like, okay, you didn't come up with that because I know I've heard that going around the thing and you just took that on. So it's almost like you can't get people to, I don't know, it's like this programming. So I need to know what the 5 types are so I can evade these.
Is it like the 5 love languages?
I'm
That
like
was such a
constantly,
popular.
is that why they told me I don't belong here, that draconian? Because I'm bouncing around. They can't fit me into a freaking cube. Maybe they have by now. I don't know.
Looks like you're all 5 types there, Anne Marie. I don't know how we're gonna handle this one.
Yeah, we're gonna
I
hit you with
can't
Where
all
do
remember.
we
5,
direct her? Pick the
all
one
5
she's the
bullets at
most.
once.
He told me what they were. This is like 3 years ago or 4 years ago, and I was so intent listening because I'm like, oh, he's actually giving me top secret information here. Cool. I wish I would
Yeah.
have wrote it down, but I didn't. I was trying to remember it all, but he told me all 5. But to
Maybe
me, I'm like,
you could ask him again. Ask him again.
You need to
I think
ask
I
him
will. Hey, Phil,
again.
what were those 5 personality types again, buddy? I need to know this. Uh,
We're gonna be a slippery snake sliding out of all those. We got her, we got her. Oh, where'd she
but
go? We got
You know, it's crazy to see the military. I mean, they're probably, at the top tier as far as the technology that they have. And I don't just mean physical things. I mean, like, as far as like what they understand about human psychology, human behavior, like they have the top people working these angles and they're teaching them. Like my brother-in-law, he has, gone to so many trainings for his job. They teach him this stuff and he's just using it for interrogation, but really they're giving him all of these tools that they're using themselves, or the higher end beyond the military, are using on everybody in the world. So when you break it to that scale, like, yeah, I probably could pick his brain and go, holy smokes, okay, this is how they're doing it. Even though I think, Harry, you've got a really good idea, Emery, you guys all have a really good idea how it's going down because you've researched this stuff enough to know how psychology works to a degree where you can just see it every day in people, their behavior, how they're acting, how they respond, how they react to things, and you can see it, why they're affected that way. Why am I affected this way? I ask myself that, it's like, how come I like having coffee in the morning and drink wine at night, right? So you don't really
Well,
know these things. And
you know why you like to drink coffee and wine?
yeah,
Because you saw it on a show
I
and
saw
you
it on a show.
mimicked it and you
hurtful.
mimicked it, or your parents did and you did it because they
Yep,
saw it. And it's just
exactly.
remember, I did that video where we were born, we land on this track, all right? And the guy in front of you is running on that track and he says, don't just stand there, start running. And
Yeah.
you just do it because
Yep.
you don't have any frame of reference. You didn't get taught right or someone taught you wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Exactly it.
exactly
I
why
like
we
to
do
go to parties. I've done this for years because I haven't drank since probably, I think I may have had a half a glass of wine in the last 30 years. I don't know. I just quit drinking in my early 20s because I felt like crap and I never really wanted to. But I like to go to parties and just walk around with no drink in my hand. If you go to a party or anywhere, a social gathering, everybody has to have a drink like this. And it's like walking around like, so sometimes I'll walk around like this with
with
no
no
drink
glass.
because people will come up to me, "Oh, you're not drinking? What are you?" And it's like, well, I don't drink. Well, how about water? Like I had to have a drink. It was like so programmed in their mind. I had to have something in my hand. You can't just walk up. And so I would just deliberately do it like, no, I don't want any water. I'm good. I don't want to have any, I'm not going to have anything in my hand. I'm going to force you to like look at something totally abnormal because it was such a program. I do that still. But anyway, because I'm an obnoxious person, but I just try to break programs all the time. So you should probably have a cup of coffee tomorrow morning because I think they've got you on the I'm never touching it.
Nope, not doing it.
So,
Hey, listen, like I've quit twice before, and each of the 2 times I quit before, it was 7 days of headache, literally 7 days of dealing. Like this first day, not bad. Second, third, fourth, fifth day, really bad, tapering down, and then finally, and I'm like, each time I get back on it, it was some kind of stressful situation, emergency at work, something happened. I'm like, screw it, I'm having a cup of coffee, and then I got hooked again, but this time I'm like. I only had 3 days of a mild headache, and I'm just like, yeah, no, no, I'm not, I don't want to do
Well, you
that.
didn't have the headache on the Life Wave though, did you, when you came off of it?
No, that's what I'm saying. That luckily, so I was about a week in, about a week and a half in of doing it. And so instead of it being such a long, prolonged period of headaches with the Life Wave, I mean, I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm assuming so. It was only 3 days of a mild headache and then it was gone. So it was just like, phew, don't have to sweat that. It was the same with
Have you
having,
guys, have you guys seen any kind of like rash or anything develop on your skin, like anything like that while taking it?
no,
Have you felt
No.
anything like I had the regular X39 patch on at the same time as another patch at the same time, both 12-hour periods, and I could feel like a tingling going on in my under my skin practically.
hmm,
But I do take a
You're
lot of
probably
supplements, so maybe
detoxing. I mean,
yeah,
that's the rash
could
to
be.
me is I've heard of people getting a rash for a little bit, like a detox or because it's getting out the foreign chemicals and the foreign substances that are synthetic or should not be there. So that glutathione's like, because the X39 is going to raise your glutathione about 30%. Right? You're doing both, aren't you, Harry? Glutathione
Yeah, I
and
did. I kind of took
X39?
it 12 hours on the X39, and then when I take the X39 off, then I put the glutathione on.
Okay, don't wear the glutathione at night though, because you could get a headache or
Mm.
whatever. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
So,
I'm going
so it's
full
all been
force.
positive. It's all been positive so far, but like I told you earlier, I've done a lot of detox, in my life, and I still take boron. I do a lot of stuff. So I don't think I'm going to get too much uh, detox because I don't need outs. I make my own water through the distilling, stuff like that. So, but the bottom line is, it's very interesting to hear what Logan's saying about the five personality types. I'm intrigued to know
Freaked out.
what the focus is. Is it like how you accept others, how you view things? Because our philosophy is I'm not going left or the right. I'm going right down the middle path, right? That's how you guys
Wonder
think
if
too,
it's
right?
based on fears, different fears, because and it's like, okay, well, we can't get them with the five personality types. Send a trigger, trigger them, or if they're mind control, MK Ultra, get them, trigger an altar or something. I don't know, but I'm wondering if it is dealing with what you're like, I don't know, right up, or maybe the Maslow's hierarchy or something like connected to all that. I don't really know because I don't have to know because Logan is going to find out for us.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
he has an
He's gonna have
assignment.
all right, okay, that is an assignment. I will text and I don't regularly talk to him, by the way, so it's not like all of a sudden I'm going to get an
I know, I'm
text
sorry.
from me.
Don't do it if it's not a good
who,
Yeah.
thing,
who,
but
who was it
But I
again?
am I'm too. Huh?
Who was it that knew this?
It's my brother-in-law. He's Air Force. He's
Oh,
he's what is that?
you're gonna have like king, the FBI at your door or whatever.
Yeah,
well,
he's like
Surround the place. Grab his computer.
about the detox for the coffee and the headaches. I drink coffee every morning still, but there was a time where I was getting a little bit of acid reflux, so I decided I'm going to eliminate the coffee because it's acidic, and I'm going to see if that helps. So I bought some mushroom, like a mushroom drink alternative, and I drank that for a week. No headache from the lack of coffee, but I still had the reflux.
mhm.
So it wasn't
Oh,
the coffee.
interesting.
But the thing I wanted to suggest to you is to make it easier, just get an alternative, something else that doesn't have caffeine in it. And
Tea. I've been
that,
doing tea.
yeah,
Yeah, caffeine-free tea because it's hot and I like something hot in the morning. So
yeah,
that's what I've been doing,
that's
I'll
good.
send
so
you
far.
some
It's only
Cali
been a
tea.
week
That's a
and a
good
half.
one. Cali
What was
tea will
it?
get you perked up.
Cali tea?
Cali, it's Sunrider Cali tea will get you perked up. I'll mail you some.
Cali tea.
Yeah.
C-A-L
Calli.
Cali tea. Okay.
Don't get the
Okay.
nighttime. I had somebody get the nighttime and they're like, why is this not waking me up? Because you're taking the one to put you to sleep.
Yeah, see, I need that for nighttime. Which one is that one?
Cali Night,
Cali Night.
but it'll
Cali Night.
get, put oxygen in your blood and, clear your head. So you get like
Oh,
a normal energy. You won't get a hyped up, but still.
oh, good. Okay. Because
Or
that's what I'm looking
espresso
for.
or low acid coffee might be an answer too for acid reflux, but anyway,
Oh,
anything
you
else
must
we should
drink
talk
coffee.
about?
You must drink coffee, huh?
Me? No, but I've started to the last week because it's supposed to help migraines. So I've tried it and it's like, I don't know. I don't know if it's doing anything. So, but I only do like, half a cup or something. But I haven't drank coffee and yeah. I mean, I went completely clean when I was 20 years old of everything. So this is like, yeah, this is like somebody going out and getting drunk, I guess, is me having coffee. It's like, you're drinking coffee? So
Well, I can tell you
anyway,
the last time that so the longest I went without coffee was probably like a month. And so I remember I didn't have coffee for a month. I got called out on an emergency inspection. It was a Friday at like 7 o'clock, and I was so mad. And so I'm like, screw it, I'm having a cup of coffee. Man, I poured that cup of coffee. Halfway at my trip down there, I was just like, holy, I mean, I got higher than a kite. I was just like, holy shit. I was just zooming, man. I got on site and I was just like ready to roll. I was like, holy smoke. See, it doesn't do that to you when you drink it every day, but when you don't have it and all of a sudden you have a strong cup, man, holy God, it
yeah,
gets
you
you.
get used to it and it doesn't have the hit anymore.
Right. It
So,
doesn't at all. It doesn't have the hit at all. No. But yeah, if you hardly drink it, holy smokes.
so
Yeah.
what good benefits are you having from LifeWave? I want to know.
Well, what I've really noticed is that I mean, there's been a lot of things. I mean, the biggest thing that I really noticed was energy, because what was happening coming into it was, I think I was telling you, I had like I normally run every morning and I work out like almost every day. So what was happening was that I completely lost motivation for about 3 weeks. Like I couldn't get out of bed to go run. I couldn't get out of the bed to work out or anything. And I was starting to feel like it was this depression. Maybe I'm like really overwhelmed, stressed out. Maybe that's what it is. So I kind of was riding on that notion that that's what it was. But then I kind of realized this is not what it is. Like my physical body is really doesn't have the energy for this for some reason. So I knew then like I probably needed to get rid of the coffee and the nightly wine drinking, because that's contributing to, even though I've been on this regiment for many, many years, it's catching up to me is what I felt like. So when I started the first night on the first day on it, that next day I woke up and I was like, wow, I got the energy to go run. I ran 5 miles the very next day,
Hmm.
which was surprising. So it
Wow.
was a good kickstart into it. Still not convinced of anything yet. I wanted to give it some time. But what I noticed was it was the same thing. Every morning I felt like I had the energy. I mean, like plenty of energy, completely motivated. Finally got myself out of that rut of not working out and exercising. Then I decided, all right, now that we've gone this far, it's only been a week, probably a week and a half, probably. And I was like, I'm going to get off the coffee and see what happens then. So got off the coffee. Took about 3 or 4 days, and then the headaches went away. And then the next one was, okay, I'm going to get off the nightly wine drinking for a while, at least for a while. I wanted to give everything like a month or two. But what I noticed with the wine was just really cool. When I've stopped before, I can't sleep at night. I'll go like days and days and days where I cannot sleep. I'm just laying there, tossing and turning. I feel like I'm just laying there from 11 to 6 in the morning, literally. But it only lasted for a couple of nights, right? And it never has done that before. On the third night, fourth night, I slept great. And I was just like, wow. So I honestly, it's like I can't really say like, oh, it's definitely this, but I know that it's coming along with me on this journey and I'm using it and I'm noticing, in contrast to times before, there's a definitive difference. So what I'm noticing now is I have lost a few pounds, but I am exercising. I have quit the coffee and the wine, for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, which is not long at all. But I am noticing some of these changes. The biggest thing for me is the energy. Like I feel more energetic. I'm also taking the glutathione, but I'm doing the Numi glutathione, which is the swish. So that's also helping with the detoxing and it's helping with the recovery with the running and the exercising. But you take all these things combined, what I'm noticing is just a really strong influx of energy. I'm noticing a lot more my smell's better, sensory's better. I feel more intuitive about things, more clear, all around. So that's where I'm at. And again, it's only been 3 weeks for me total with doing it. So now what my mission is just to keep on going through and keep saying to them, okay, what's the next thing I can do? You know, what's the next thing I can eliminate? What's the next thing I can do to progress towards, getting back into that, or even getting into better shape than I've ever been? That's really my ultimate goal. I want to get into really good shape. And so far, I'm off to a great start, with it all. Like, I don't think I would have been able to say that a year ago if I were to try it. I usually fall off the wagon after a week or two, if anything. So we're off. For me, I feel really motivated. Even right now, I'm just like,
Those are
I've been
all,
working
those
on
are all symptoms in those first ones. You're supposed to look for results in the first 90 days, and those are all in that list. So the three of us were one patch wonders. So if somebody wants to try the patches, I would say patch yourself, patch a few members of your family in case you're not the one patch wonder. But I mean, we all noticed something right away. Harry, what have you been noticing?
With me is, it's only been 5 days now, but I'm pretty good at sleeping. You know, I can go to sleep within 10 minutes, I'm asleep. But the thing I've noticed is I won't stay asleep. And I was waking up a couple times at night, just like, what do I do now? Why am I awake? But months ago, I would sleep either all the way through at night, but it took me a long time to go to sleep. Now, in the last 5 days, I can honestly say I fall asleep the minute my head hits the pillow, and I don't wake up till at least 7 hours later.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah, so
Good.
that's, for me, I was like a 5 hour a night sleeper. And, I'm into this, checking what my vitals are and how my sleep patterns are on my device that I have. And it was telling me, man, you got some bad sleep. You didn't get deep sleep. You didn't get REM sleep. You didn't get this. And I'm like, oh man. So yeah, now the quality of sleep, I think, is dramatically increased
That's
in those
good.
5 days. I haven't felt any more energy yet, but I'm not doing the glutathione patch regularly. I've only done it once. I'm gonna try that one again. Um, I already work out. I don't work out as much as Logan does, because I'm older. But I definitely have noticed uh, not okay. One thing I had was, after I had that surgery on one of my toes a couple of years ago, I was not the same afterwards. I can't, like, I don't run anymore. I won't go running. If my dog pulls me, I might go a little bit faster, but I'll just walk. I'm not going to go run anywhere. But I've noticed that now my foot seems to feel a little bit better. So yeah, I'll sprint, 10, 20 yards. So I'm
Oh,
feeling a
that's
little bit
good.
better there. Yeah.
Yeah, I just went and worked out. Um, did I go 2 days in a row or three? And I hadn't worked out in a while because like you, Logan, I don't know what was going on. I was just like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do it. And so it's like starting from ground zero when you go in there. And I thought, I'm just going to throw some freaking weights. I was lifting like really heavy weights for me. And I thought, "God, I'm going to be hurting tomorrow." I had no pain either day. I went in the next day, I was like, I'm going to do the same freaking weights. I was doing a full body because when you haven't done anything, it's like, I don't want to do half my body. Let's just get the whole thing going. You're supposed to only do like certain whatever. But I did not have any pain afterward, which was weird, like sore muscles. But I'm having tons of stuff. And I just watched a video of this woman. So this is a journey, though. I mean, you guys are just starting. I'm literally just starting. I'm only 3.5 months. But this lady was on for a year, and she went in. She was supposed to get a stent put in her heart, and the doctor said, "You don't need the stent." And then they discovered that the batteries I think I told you that, Harry, the
Yeah.
batteries
Yeah.
in her pacemaker had been dead for 8 weeks. So the pacemaker wasn't even functioning for 8 weeks, but she didn't even need it. But that was a year in. So, people are like, a lot of people, almost everybody that I have talked to about X39, they've tried it, is having results, but there's a couple people that, you know, are yelling at me, but I'm like, oh, I don't know what you want me to do. Patch some of your family and see what happens. Because it works for everybody is his thing. But I did a meditation today, not a meditation, I don't even know what it's called. I went in and just decided to join with nature and the elements and everything. And I was I've already broken contracts with the elements and nature because they have everything under a contract here. But I broke the karma, like how they send us karma. I sent back the karma that was being sent to all of nature. I don't remember exactly what I was doing. It was just like my soul was just doing it. I was just being led. But I remember saying, you know, anything that wasn't friendly with us, true spirits, this was going to be a world of spirit. And I just saw a blast of light go out. But I was like, anything not friendly with us, you can get out. You know, I basically was just shoving everything out. I don't remember what I all did, but then it's like all of a sudden it came to me. This is a place, and I wrote it down. This is a place for us to experience. I don't know how I said it. We're experiencing wealth, abundance, and true freedom. And it was like, wow. And I kind of feel like that's what this life wave thing is. And it's like, get on now because you need to give it some time. And there's people that haven't gotten on or haven't told anybody, but it's almost an intuitive thing. The people I talk to about it, I say a couple words and they're like, yeah, get me on it right now. I don't know why, it just feels right. But I thought you had this great business you love. Yeah, I don't care. I want to do this. Just get me on. It's like, okay. So there's something about this, and I think it's one of the miracles that have come in. So if anybody wants to try it, I would say just jump in head first, but that's just me. But I went into it like an idiot, knowing nothing. So and it's creating health miracles and money miracles. So it's just we got to tell everybody, and it's like he's saying it's going to be. You know, when I was reading Jaco's title of his video, there, it's going to be everywhere at some point. Everybody's going to know about it because it's going like a forest fire, like just because people are just getting insane results. But it is a journey. So, you know, I'm looking at least a year for a lot of my major things to clear up. Maybe they'll clear up before that, but I've already had so many things. So I'm really excited. If anybody wants to do the business and you're from Logan's channel or Harry's channel, or you got to my place from one of their channels, you know, I'll send you their way for the business. But
You know what they
I
say,
think
Emery,
it's
if something, if you're looking for a shortcut for anything, it's never going to be real. So if it took you years and years to put on weight or to develop some kind of dis-ease, it's not going to go away. You're going to lose the weight in 10 days, and you're not going to be cured in 3 months. So something that's real is going to take time to undo the damage that's been done. So I think that's why it's not going to just work overnight. It's not a miracle. Miracles probably aren't what we really think they are.
yeah, you got
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah,
Because
and
a
you
lot
get
of these things are symptoms. They're symptoms of something. Now, I can't sleep. Well, there's something else going on that you don't know about, or maybe you do know about, but that's causing that as a symptom. So, well, the symptom didn't go away. Well, your body's working on it. You know, you got to get rid of the cause, and then the symptom will. That's why I think a lot of these symptoms are just disappearing, or they're going away a little bit, and then they come back a little bit, and then they go away a little more, and then it's like more, and then it's gone. So, that's what I've been noticing. But anyway, health and wealth, we've got it coming to us. I think we have more miracles. Do you feel like we have we're going in a good direction for the future? Because I really do feel that even though we've got all these shenanigans going on, do you think there's going to be an alien invasion? That's what I wanted to ask you. Are they going to pull that card? Are they going to be able to pull that card?
I think they can definitely pull it because there's so many people sleepwalking. But I think also that there's so much revelation happening. You know, we always think about the last book of the Bible, the Revelation. There's a lot of things coming out, like, you know, with Cat Williams coming out and telling everyone about all these P. Diddy type things that are happening. And, all these things are being exposed. And I think what we're going to see is we're going to start seeing, uh, not only is the movie and the music industry going to be kind of called out, politicians are going to be found out, governments are going to be found out. Like, I think it's been happening with Israel. I mean, who does not associate the state of Israel now with Nazism? I mean, they're one and the same if you really think about it. So you got the industries being revealed, you got the governments being revealed. I think what's going to end up happening is the wheels are going to just fall off of whatever this entity is that's trying to control, and maybe this lock on these people's minds is going to maybe start deteriorating, and maybe the X-39 is going to be instrumental in helping. Who knows? I don't know.
It is.
Well, it gets us off of Big Brother and big corporation products, but yeah, that unrolling of information, I kind of felt like I saw in one of my fearless forecasts, I was seeing, oh God, I'm blanking out on it now. Something with this, oh, with a celebrity group, they would be exposed like a group that's all connected to each other. And that's kind of what's starting. We're starting to see that a little bit, like you said, with P. Diddy and stuff. But yeah, is the alien invasion the only thing to shut that down? Or oh my God, we're all being exposed. The aliens are here. I don't know.
I think the alien thing, it may be down the road a little bit. I kind of feel like, I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I kind of feel like whatever you see really being pressed in the mainstream media, whatever narrative, that's what they're going to be pushing. That's why I brought up the whole thing happening tomorrow with the pandemic treaty, because that's the real world stuff, the narrative that they're trying to shove down everyone's throat. So more than likely they're going to do another pandemic, or probably a climate crisis thing, or it could be something that we can't even predict, because these people are really good at kind of coming in underhandedly and creating some kind of weird thing that no one was really able to come up with and go, oh man, I didn't think about that one, because they got all these tricks in their bag. And the thing that they come up with may be in line with a pandemic or in line with a climate change type thing, but it would be unpredicted by most people, because they're just good at doing things like that. I can't explain. It seems very spontaneous. That's what they like to play the trick that things are just spontaneously happening, and then that they're fixing the problem, but really they're ones creating it and hiding it very well. But I think following the narrative of what they're saying, that's probably the best direction to go to figure out what they're going to do. And if it comes down to it at some point, I would definitely be interested to see some fake alien invasion. They got the technology, they've got people raptured, people's minds raptured, enough as it is. So it would be very believable. Hey, if I saw an alien ship that was a blue beam thing over my house, I would be damn sure thinking it's real at first, for sure. I mean, anybody would. How are you not supposed to? I got to protect my kids and family. It's like, what the hell is this shit, man?
They're there, but they've just been, I don't know. It's not an invasion. We've already been fighting them for how long and been invaded. But yeah, that's totally accurate what you're saying, because when we had the election, they did the pandemic, or the pandemic, so that people would be at home and they would do mail-in votes, because that's how they controlled it, was with the mail-in votes. That's how they changed the numbers. But it's like, you don't piece all that together. It's like, whoa, wait, what? So it was almost like you're saying, like, oh, we have a pandemic, but the whole purpose of it really was for the election. So
Or
it's just,
it's financial too, because what they do is when, a crisis happens, the stock market drops out, people start selling all their stuff, and then everything goes down to a pennies on a dollar. It's the old, Rothschild trick. They come back in when everything picks back up again and buy it for pennies on the dollar. It's like, it's multi-tiered strategy. It's not just, one thing. We have a tendency to think
yes.
genocide. It's this, it's that. It's like, no, man, these people don't think like that. They're thinking like, what's more beneficial to them in the long run? It's like, okay, we kill a bunch of people, we're going to crash this, we're going to get more rich, we're going to push this agenda over here. It's a chess game, and they've got thousands of people working the chess game for them. Some of them don't even know what they're actually doing. They're just taking orders. It's compartmentalized.
Yeah.
And it's very thought out. So it's multi-layered. One thing happening fits a lot of different agendas that they want to fulfill. It's pretty wild actually. But the
So I
alien
don't
thing,
want to take up
my
your
favorite thing.
time. Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
you're good. Oh no, no,
It's like,
nothing. I was gonna say they probably fit the alien thing in there somewhere. I'm kind of waiting to see. Honestly, I'm interested to see when they're
God.
gonna throw that card in there.
well, it's like we've said it in the past too. Problem, reaction, solution. They create the problem and they wait for the reaction because they've got the solution already made. When you buy your laptop or your computer, the guy who designed the operating system has an antivirus already ready to sell you. Why? Because he has written the virus program and he's going to infect you and say you got it somewhere. And we all know that viruses all only exist in the computer realm. So if we are in a, you know, holographic world, we're living in that same kind of system. So they operate the same way. They create that problem and they wait for someone to start, you know, crying and saying there's a problem. Whereas most of the time, it's their own people who are paid to say that there's a current problem, and then they incite everyone else, and then you just start running along with the herd, and then they say, "Hey, don't worry, we got this. It's going to be $29.99. You got to pay for the rest of the year every month, and you're going to be fine." And then they lock you down, and you take their arm juice and you become one of them. And that just perpetuates the problem. And like you said, Logan, it is multifaceted. It's not one game that they're playing. They have what's it called in betting when you have three things going on at once? A parlay, right?
Uh,
You want to hit it big, you're going to spend $8. And if you hit that parlay and all five of your bets hit, you win $1 million. But to hit all eight,
yeah,
all of
man,
those facets,
that's what they're
it's
doing.
it's hard.
Yep, you
And they
got
make
it.
$8. And they make $8 and they make $8 and no one wins it. But they're playing this game because they are the house, right? They have the advantages. They win 80% of the time, no matter what, because the deck of cards is stacked against you, and they're playing with two decks, so you can't even count the cards. So yeah, that's how it is. That's how we're at their mercy. We're on a different level than they are. They think they're better than us, but they cheat because they know we're better than them.
Yeah,
Yep,
precisely,
you got
exactly.
it.
Yep.
Well, I have one more question, unless you want to talk about some more things. And so I'm completely ignorant in this area of cryptocurrency. I mean, I have my mind in how do we get ourselves out of here after we die? What's going on? What is this world? What's going on in politics? What's this? What's that? I have way too many subjects that I'm looking at, and I tried to look at cryptocurrency and learn it and what it's all about, and I just have not been able to even like have a brain cell left to look at it. But I remember getting something about somebody asked me to read on it, and I got XRP was the one that was going to be um the one that you should. This was a few years ago. I said, is it 2 years ago maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
XRP, and I said Bitcoin was not good, or that might go up and down, but you wanted to be with XRP. So what, still don't even know what that is or even have looked it up. Do you know anything about? And
Bought some.
what is XRP? This is my own personal question.
Well, I don't know about XRP because I think that's the one that was the big scam, I think, wasn't it?
The one with what's his face, the guy that went to jail.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that people were
I
like
don't
getting
know.
on a bandwagon, that all these celebrities pushing it, and in the end, it was a big Ponzi. And then he went to prison, and all the people who were supposedly um, hired to promote it, like I think Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal, the basketball players, they were pushing it, and now they're supposedly have to go to court and testify and protect their ass. But I bought
Was
some
it
crypto.
XRP? I just heard something that if you have XRP, it was from a money guy, hold on to it for dear life, because that's the only
Oh.
thing that's gonna be worth anything, but
Oh, I'm not
I
sure.
still don't even know what it is.
So
Oh my
I bought
God.
I bought some cryptocurrency, but just because I saw that if the United States goes to the CBDC system, any cash that you have, you're gonna have to turn it in and change it into that anyway. And then if you do, the CBDC can be programmed so you can't, like you want to go buy some alcohol tonight, Anne Marie, and have a drink because your hand is empty. Um, it can tell you, oh, you already bought 3 bottles this week. We think that we need to cut you off. So they can control the what the currency can sell and buy. But in regards to crypto, they tell you, oh, all this money is on an exchange that is decentralized, so that the government doesn't control it. But
Guys,
what we've seen in the last, I don't know, 2 months, 2 months, we saw Bitcoin hit an all-time high at like 73,000 for a coin. And then within just a few weeks of the halving, which means now there's half as many miners that can mine because they eliminated half of them. You saw the price drop almost back down to where it was 3, 4 months ago. So you saw any gain that it had, and it fell like a rock over like a 2 week period. It lost like 40% of its value. Now it's trying to climb back up. That to me does not demonstrate characteristics of a decentralized exchange. It is under the controls of the same people who control gold and silver. Now, that's another thing that I'm really interested in. Gold and silver are alternative currencies. Well, they're not currencies, but alternative stores of value. And you see that for the last, a couple of years, gold has been stable between 1,800 to $2,000. And silver, though, silver is like an anomaly. Silver was like $20, no, was like $10 an ounce 20 years ago. And then somewhere about 15 years ago, it hit $50, and now it's back in the 20s. And slowly, it finally got out of the cellar, $20, and it hit the 24. And something is artificially keeping it from being what it's truly worth. If the dollar has deteriorated over the last 50 years and is worth 2 cents on its dollar, why is silver and gold not gone up?
yeah,
So
exactly.
that tells me that there's a cap on how high these gold and silver exchanges can go. And it also shows me that crypto, because look, the word crypto is Greek for hidden, right? But it also is, it can be connected to the word crypt, which is like
Correct.
where you get buried, right? So I think what they're trying to tell you is, I think the government created Bitcoin, and
Oh, yeah.
is when it comes out with a CBDC, they want you to be so afraid of CBDC that you fly into crypto, and then you put all your
Hmm.
money into it, and then they tank the crypto, and they say, ha ha, you could have changed it to CBDC, but we just stole your money anyway. So I think it's a big psyop. I think that this uh, Japanese guy who invented it, who nobody really knows who he is, it's a big, I think there's even a white paper on Bitcoin, and it kind of reveals that it's the government that owns it, that controls it. That's my take.
I
Okay.
put my bets on that too.
Yeah, yeah. When something's too good to be true,
It
like
is.
when it was like, I think 10 years in 2009, Bitcoin was something like a couple $100 a coin, and people got into it. They became millionaires instantly. I mean, like we said earlier, anything that's a shortcut, that's too good to be true, where you become a millionaire overnight or doing nothing, I don't care. You know, they try to compare it to, oh, it's like Amazon stock. Oh, it's like Facebook stock. You know, there's a lot of hard work that goes into that stuff. Crypto,
No,
you just
that's my
bought it.
brother's. My brother, he's a millionaire now because of it. And
Yeah,
I'm like, dang, man, he didn't invest that much money into it. He probably
yeah,
invested maybe 10 grand from
yeah,
the very beginning, going back 6, 7 years ago. And now he's just like with it
mhm.
all. And I'm like, man, that's just not fair. I guess
Yeah.
I
And
should have
again,
done
it could be that,
We'll be millionaires with a life wave.
that.
yeah, it's just so, so hard to think that with a shortcut that you're actually going to get any benefit. It's like taking steroids. You know, you're going to get pumped up and big, and then by the time you turn 60, you're going to be dead.
Yep. Yeah, that's a
It's
good way
going
to
to
look
kill
at
you.
it.
In the long run, it just kills you. It gets you big, and then and it collects its debt from you, right? It says,
Right.
okay,
Oh, interesting.
I'm the
That's
Grim Reaper. You're done now. You're not going to live till 85.
yeah. It's time to collect the debt.
Yeah. So I
Lovely.
think that
Freaking
that's what's in,
karma. That's what I
that's
sent
what,
back to him today. All the karma they're trying to dump on us. The
yeah.
debts. It's their karma, not ours.
Mhm.
We don't live by karmic law. They do.
Yeah, it's yeah, exactly. They do their best to dump everything on everybody else. It's classic sociopathic behavior. Man, you don't have to dig very far to read about how this behavior works in psychology books against, like one person against another. This is just basically one group doing it to another. And just dumping everyone on, dumping this crap off on everybody, convincing everybody they're the problem. You know, uh, typical.
Well, Logan, you said it earlier. The reason they treat us like this is because, and we're trapped here, is because they're trapped too. And I did a video, I think it was called Bark Bark Baby, and it's just about how we walk into this arcade, and the guy who runs it says, "Hey, I got this game here. Pretend you are whoever, and you can play it." And you go in, and it's not the game that he told you it was. And now you're kind of stuck there. But the reason he makes you
We're
stuck
not
there,
stuck though. We're gonna get out. We're getting
I know,
out.
but the
Go
the
ahead.
reason
Sorry.
why, yeah, but
We're not trapped.
the reason why you think you're trapped is because he is trapped, and
There you go.
he wants to make you think you are too, by saying, "Oh, you got 3 lives," and once those 3 lives disappear from your arm, you die. And it's just fear based. That's all it is.
Yep. I agree with that because that's all it is. And fear is a very powerful, the most powerful
Look
chemical
at
response there.
nuclear weapons. They're fear based.
Right. Right.
What superpower, what country in the world is the only country that ever used so-called fake nuclear weapons? I mean, haven't there been crazy leaders that had access that could have just detonated one and destroyed cities other than Hiroshima and Nagasaki? It's fear-based. There's no nuclear weapons.
I
Anyone
agree.
who tells you that there is, they're just, I mean, the fear itself is more powerful than the bomb.
Exactly. And they
So
know that.
why use it? Then why
Why
use it then?
you don't have to invent shit. You just have to pretend that you did and
Just like the
propagandize
virus,
it. That's all I need to
just
do.
like the virus. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And use technology that's like 1,000 years ahead that nobody would even dream that they would be using
That too.
instead.
Mhm.
Perfect.
So I'll just
And
have a
Frame.
rando question and then I'll shut up and quit asking questions. Logan, do you remember off the top of your head the 7 deadly sins that you said were in reality the real ones?
I have that written down, and it's funny you said that the other day, and I was like, I wrote that down, and I need to freaking dig those things up again because I can't
And that
remember.
was brilliant.
It was. Those are that was good. I have to find it. I got it in my notes somewhere. But yeah, not the propagandized 7 deadly sins, which is what like guilt and
gluttony, yeah,
gluttony. Yeah, yeah. There was another list of
jealousy. I
yeah, the
can't remember
propaganda
either.
stuff to get people, thinking to be shameful of themselves for having feelings about stuff. And again, propaganda, not the real seven deadly sins.
Yeah.
It was the, seven deadly sins of true characteristics of the controllers here, but anyway,
Yeah.
if you find that, send it to me.
I will.
There's
So I
two
get,
tasks
I
you
got
have.
homework. 5 personality traits, 7 deadly sins.
You
All right,
got, you got all
homework.
kinds of homework. What else
Okay.
can we assign him, Harry?
You know,
Take-
I don't know.
Take it easy
I
on me
think
now.
he's not drinking coffee, so you don't give him too much.
Oh, that's right. You're doing good. You don't have any assignments, Logan.
I'll dig
It's
those
only
up.
extra
Well, one of them
credit.
was I was supposed to look up, that's what it was. The last podcast, I was telling you, my dad was telling me about a book about a guy who wrote a book about rigging games and about, remember that?
Oh,
There's a book
yeah.
written about how they rig games, and the most rigged game was soccer. Remember that? And then, anyways, I'm supposed to find that out, and I totally forgot about it. So now that you,
Okay, those are all
Mhm.
extra credits since you're doing so good with the addictions. They're not assignments, no pressure.
okay, 5
Yeah, and you know why that one's the most rigged game, right?
Well, I don't know why. That's a good
It's
question.
the most popular game in the whole world.
No, I guess in the whole world, I guess it would be probably
Yeah.
the most
Oh,
watched game.
Football.
Mhm.
If you take America out of the picture, because you have a tendency to think American terms like football,
You know what?
basketball.
Football is
The
soccer,
highest
right? Football,
the highest
FUT.
ranked the highest ranked American sport is like number 8 on the list of most popular world sports.
Football is like actual like American football.
No, it's
8?
not even on the top 10. Not even
No
top
kidding.
10. No.
I think that's just American
cricket,
thing.
cricket is better than all our American sports.
No kidding.
Huh. Yeah, football
tennis-
is soccer overseas.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and we
Tennis is
have it
better
here.
than
It's
all the
probably
sports,
everywhere. Because this whole place is a soccer ball,
Yes, it is.
a Rubik's Cube soccer ball. All right, should we call it a day? I've kept you on forever.
Yeah, I probably need to
Yeah,
run, get dinner rocking and rolling.
Yeah, because you guys are at what, 5, 6 o'clock almost, right?
Yep, almost.
I don't know.
Yep, almost 6.
Yeah, it's almost. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's almost 3 o'clock
6.
here.
Dinner
All right, I'm
time.
gonna hit the recording off. Thanks,
All right.
everybody, for watching. We'd love your comments. And
Yeah.
we'll hopefully see you soon.